Yes. Now, I must start my video by encouraging those who have been able to burn midnight candles reading, and for those who have not been able to do that, I want to encourage you that we have just less than a month to go. You really don't have time on your path, so you got to do whatever it is you have to do to ensure that you see yourself through this exam. Now, I've had quite a number of calls from candidates and subscribers asking for more analysis on this play. Now, I don't understand why this is posing a problem to candidates. Now, one thing I must understand too is that one thing I do know is that candidates have a preference for Lake God, given its brevity and the fact that it's a play that is set in our very own Cameroon and a fictional village, and so life there is quite of identical with our everyday, activities and the way we go about our day and things and stuff like that. So candidates seem to feel that direct connection, and understanding the play is quite easy for them. I guess that's the reason why they have this unwavering preference for Lake God by Bole Butake. But of course, it's a beautiful play though. I am not a candidate like some of you watching the videos here. You are the one who is going to take the quizzes, so I'm just here to help guide you through. But then I don't see why this poses quite a lot of challenges for candidates, given that its language is down to earth. I mean, credit to Bole Butake, given why it is a popular theatre. So I'm just going to look again at some of the central episodes that we have been discussing so far. But before I get into it, I want to let you know that textual analysis is all about understanding a story and responding to questions. Now, a story, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this. A story is like a breathing, living organism that has parts of it. So, understanding how the various parts come together to ensure that the story is as successful as it is. It therefore means you are appreciating that story. And you can't really analyze these different components that builds up the story if you don't know how they function together. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter the medium of presentation. Now, we must understand at advanced level. Of course, there are different genres of literature that do exist. But I will bet you that in advanced level, only 3 have been introduced. We have poetry, prose, and drama. Just 3. And so each and every one of them have their own idolatal peculiarities. They have their own specific features. Now, Let God is a play. And remember, I'll say this, remember that a play is a physical enactment of an act on a stage in front of a live audience. See, plays are not written to be read like we are doing now. No. Plays are written for live performance. You see the difference between plays and prose is that a play or drama is written in present tense. Because we are watching live performance on stage. And so there are some features that are peculiar to a play that I don't see in prose or poetry. But then there are some very central ones that are common in all 3 genres. So the most important thing for you to note is that it's not about presentation, it is about the story. Whether it's a poem, it is a novel, it's a play, they all are telling a story. So at the end of the day, the examiner comes back to a story and asks questions on it. Whether we are talking about setting, we are talking about the characters in that story, we are talking about the devices he has to narrate that story, whatever, it comes down to a story. And I'll say this again, when you pick up a story, whether it is prose, poetry, or drama, there are episodes to be analyzed. Go to those key central episodes. Call them dramatic episodes if you will. Analyze them, break them down. Identify the role that the main characters in these episodes are playing. From what they do, you can tell their character trait. I don't know how difficult this thing can be. Character traits are just merely adjectives we use to describe characters based on their actions. themes are universal messages in a story that the author wants to pass over to the audience. I don't understand. I don't understand why you just don't get it. The examiner will always ask you a simple question that will need you to go to those dramatic episodes, draw out arguments from them, and place them and argue them out, present them. Is that easy? There are things in Let God that I won't waste my time telling you. I'm just going to go to those key episodes. It is in those key episodes that you will draw your arguments to answer, to respond to whatever question the examiner puts in front of you. And we have discussed it 1,000,001 times. This is English language. When the play opens, when it opens, we encounter Shea Bonio on stage. Spectacle, costume, lighting, stage direction. These are aspects of stagecraft. Stagecraft means that artistic qualities of live performance. How do we guide performance? What are the aspects of art used in order to guide the performance on stage? We call them stagecraft. I've just enumerated them. Analyze Shea Bonio's entry on stage. The physical environment speaks of dead bodies littering the stage, and the old man is in tears. He sings an elegy, a lament song. He just cannot believe that they couldn't do anything to appease, to placate the gods, to forget the complacency of the chief. So the gods had to sweep through the village, leaving dead bodies all over the place. And so the old man sings a sad song. Bole Butake calls it the Mangvum. Mangvum is a sad song that he sings while on stage. Observing the dead bodies, tears run down his cheeks. That opening scene sets the tone of the play. It is one of death and revenge carried out by the gods. So should the examiner ask you to comment on the theme of revenge, Let God is an exemplary text you can use in a question like that. That is one key episode you must analyze. Episode number 2. As soon as Shea leaves the stage, the cameras take us to Von Joseph's palace. There we encounter him in a tete-a-tete, a conversation with a white man, an evangelist, a reverend father dressed in a white cassock. He goes by the name of Father Leo. We learn that he's an evangelist who has come to spread Christianity deep down the interiors of Africa, and one of his newly converts is a fawn he's having a conversation with. You see, if I can convert a fawn, I can convert the whole village. Analyze their conversation. What are the themes you see there? Assimilation. For Joseph embraces Western civilization and Christianity and looks down on his own traditional identity and culture as heathen, paganic, which is bad. While they are at it, Shea Bonio bombs him, and they call him, Father Leo calls him Shea of the gods, in quotes. Shea has come to warn the fawn that what he is doing will have a grave consequences on the entire village, and not just him. But the fawn won't pay heed because he's obstinate. He has been uprooted from his traditional identity. He refuses. Now the fawn has two dogs. Dogs are his henchmen, the intruders, the ones who stand at the gate and bar the entrance with spear. They got Shea thoroughly beaten, kick him out. You must analyze that episode. As soon as Father Leo leaves, he tells the fawn that he's expecting 2 visitors who have come to visit the lake, but he doesn't know what they want there. He's soon to have tea with them. The phone also externalized. He airs out his desire to have these same men for tea in the afternoon. But then Father Leo insists that the men are in a hurry, which means visiting the phone will be impossible. So the phone can do nothing than ask Father Leo to extend his regard to these white men. And Father Leo claims that if these men can come here, therefore great things will come to the village by way of progress and civilization. And so immediately Father Leo leaves, there is a sound, music, women are marching, they are coming to the palace. We are later on told that these women constitute what they call the Fibwen. Now the Fibwen is a women's cult, a leading juju, like we call it in English, pidgin. It is a cult that directs the voices of the women, especially when the women are facing challenges in the village. It carries the problem to the highest authority of the land, who is the Fon. Now these women have come carrying Dewa on his stretcher. Who is Dewa? Dewa is an Hausa headsman, Ganako, like we call it Ganako. Dewa is a headsman, Ganako. They had him all pounded on a stretcher. So they come bearing him to the palace. And when they encounter Dogo and Chinche, the two Inchinas, they scramble back in a fit of panic. Dogo prostrates in front of the phone with Chinche. And when the phone demands to know what is happening, they inform the phone that the women have come bearing a dead body. And it is an abomination in the land for the phone to see a dead body, else he will not live. And so the phone dispatches them, go bar the gate. So they have to block the gate. Once that is done, the women come along with Dewa. And so Dogo and Kichi tell the women to unbind Dewa and let him go. And all of them cancel the phone. They must elect 5 members of the group to come see the phone and take the message to the rest. So 5 leaders of the Fibwen march in. Now the phone fails to address their problems and decides to instead offer the 2,000 francs bribe. What then is their problem? The women have a problem with the cattle rearers like Dewa, because the women say that the cattle rearers have allowed their cattle to feed on their farms, decimate everything. And take note that is a place set in a village, which therefore means that livelihood is based on subsistence agriculture. Now if the cattle have decimated their farms, it means their families will starve. So the cattle rearers must go. That is why the women have come. But then the farm can't send the cattle rearers out, because the cattle Dewa is looking after are his cattle, and they are the source of his wealth. He was able to get to the throne by bribing his way through. That is starts the money raised through the sale of cattle. So he can't let them go. So being the selfish, egocentric, self-centered, corrupt traditional leader that he is, he cajoles Dewa. Oh yes, to bribe the women with 2,000 francs each. Bad. It therefore means that Bole Butake is presenting leadership too in this text. But then this leadership comes at the level of tradition. So I'm talking about traditional African leaders. Are we there? Talking about traditional African leaders. So these women refuse to take the bribe from the phone and Dewa, and they decide to call for a general meeting for the women in a bush called Ngangba Bush, where a decision was taken that they will starve their men from food and sex so that the men can throw their weight behind them. You must analyze this episode too. And the elderly lady who administers the oath is Makusha. Now, once we leave there, the camera now follows us to a palm wine tapper called Lagam. Lagam is inside the bush with 3 of his friends. That makes it 4 of them. This elderly pass in the village, let me call it pass, they all discover that they have one problem with their wives. insubordination and stubbornness. And they don't seem to put a finger where all of that is coming from. But from their conversation, they could tell that a lot is going wrong, bad in the land. And so their women have decided to come together to put up a fight against them. And what are these women trying to do? Let me put my text here so you can see it. Oh yes. So the women have decided that they are going to force their men to throw their weight behind them. And so these women in this text, they have also taken an oath that they will not tell their men why they have taken that decision. Oh yes. So they call it the oath of concealed lips. To zip your lips and keep quiet. So the men can only speculate. So in the conversation among these elderly men, we come across things like domestic violence, matrimonial conflict, brutality and assault on women, which of course are social vices that Bole Butake comes hard against. So each and every one of them begins to air out his own experience with his wife or wives about the issue. The wives are starving them. There's one of the men there whose wife will serve him soup and bushmeat without fufu corn to eat. And when he threatened to beat her up, she told him that if you truly love your fufu, why don't you follow me to Gangba bush instead of beating me up in front of my children? There's another one with 3 wives. She attempted to beat one up, and the other two joined their co-wives. That should he try it, all of them will pounce on him, and he had to back off. So at the end of the day, the men decided that they are going to consult Shea Tanto, the leader of the men's cult. Oh yes, which we call the quick form. You must analyze that episode. Oh yes, you must. From there, we then go to the form. The form is having a tete-a-tete with his wife, Angela, because Angie is his sweetheart. And so the form is having a little tete-a-tete with the wife. And so a lot of information is given to us surrounding the circumstances. Oh yes, about the circumstances surrounding the ascension to power by Fon Joseph. There's a lot of flashback there. He goes back, he reminisces about his past life, how it was pleasure to marry other wives, but he had to stick with Angela. We observe that he also talks a lot about his predecessor, that is his father, whom he succeeded as the form. So all of that put together, the examiner can ask you to work on flashback. You can pull elements from that area to discuss it. Now, another key episode that we must discuss is how the gods finally exact their revenge. But before they do that, the quick phone have to march to the phone's palace, take the phone by force, and make him carry the calabash and march to the lake. But then this action has come too late, because the lake god has already risen from the lake, swept through the land, killing everybody, including the phone and the men of the quick phone. So Shea Bonio has to come on stage and he cries hard. That is just all about the play. That's just all. Now, once you have been able to understand these various narrative or I'll say central episodes, all you need to do is take questions, put it down, and look at what aspects of this text can I use to answer these questions. That is just all there is to say. So you can look at the role of women. You can identify the elements of drama and theater arts. You can look at suspense, satire, vivid description, plot, narrative techniques. They are all included inside. Just pick these episodes, analyze them. So I thought that I'll do a very quick video on this text, just so that I can help calm things down for candidates who still don't have a grip over the text. So from now, I don't expect that you still have that problem again. So I will see you in my next video. Of course, my next video will be on Alobet APS, the lady with the beard. I had quite a number of questions coming from that text. So we're going to go there. Symbolism. I'll touch on symbolism in a lady with a beard. So see you next time. Keep it. But then before you go, do your very best to help me. Hit the subscribe button, like, and you share. Hit the subscribe button, like, and you share. We can cut it and push it in platforms where other candidates can join us. We are going to help to build our studio. Oh yes, that's all you can do to help, to help generate some publicity for our platform. You won't be paying any money, nothing. It's just all about having your data and helping out to grow the platform, and I will really appreciate it. So if you feel that I've not been very consistent in my videos, maybe that is because you have not been doing your very best to push the video out. So if you do that, I promise that I'm going to put in as many videos as possible. So try your very best to subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you. Of course, put in your questions at in the comment section under my YouTube videos. Put your questions and let us see what you can come up with.